I'm going to call this meeting the Oskaloosa City Council to order. That is Tuesday, September 3rd, 2019. We start with the invocation. I don't believe Pastor Goodrich is here, so would you stand and pray with me, please? Heavenly Father, as we assemble here tonight, we thank you for the blessing of the people in this room. We've all felt your call to be part of the future of Oskaloosa and acknowledge the need for your guidance. For the council members and staff here, we ask that you bless us. Give us quiet and considerate attitudes, well thought out deliberations, and ultimately decisions that are best for the long-term future of the city of Oskaloosa. We thank you for those in the audience here and watching the broadcasts. We thank you for leaders of businesses and organizations who have the vision and commitment to help the city, the countless volunteers who are motivated to help, and for informed citizens who've given us the privilege of their trust and support. Tonight, we've assembled a group of people who are making a difference in the long-term future of Oskaloosa. May the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable in your sight. Amen. Amen. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Burnett.
Here.
Caligari.
Here.
Drush.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Addison.
Here.
Walling.
Yes. Here.
Bates.
Here.
Okay. Well done. The next item up is the opportunity to swear in our latest police officer. Jenna Arisgato was born and raised in Ottumwa. She enlisted in the United States Navy right after high school and served on the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln, working as a weapons elevator technician from 2009 to 2013. While in the Navy, she completed 2 world tours, seeing different countries like Dubai, Bahrain, and Singapore. She finished her enlistment and started college in Pensacola, Florida. She enjoys backpacking, coaching CrossFit, teaching about health goals, and sitting on the beach in her hammock whenever possible. Officer Arisgato is joined today by her loving daughter Zamora and her mother Nora Bellin, who is Officer Arisgato's #1 supporter. They will be pinning on Officer Arisgato's badge together. Officer, would you please step forward? Raise your right hand, please. I, Jennifer C. Arisgato,
I, Jennifer C. Arisgato,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and comply with
that I will support and comply with
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Iowa,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Iowa,
the charter laws and ordinances of the city of Oskaloosa,
the charter and ordinance of the city of Oskaloosa,
the rules and regulations of the Oskaloosa Police Department,
the rules and regulations of the Oskaloosa Police Department,
the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics,
the law enforcement code of ethics,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of my position
discharge the duties of my position
as police officer to the best of my ability.
as police officer to the best of my ability.
Welcome aboard.
Good job.
Oh, she's like, oh, got it.
Thank you for your service.
hard to believe, I know, Steve, but I've come to that realization. It's always good to see the room empty.
Our next item on the agenda is the opportunity for community comments. This item is reserved to receive comments from the community for concerns whether or not they're included on the current agenda. The community is encouraged to come and speak before the mayor and city council. Asked to keep statements brief. Time shall be limited to no more than 3 minutes. Any questions are to be asked of the city staff, the council members, or mayor prior to speaking to the full council, so concerns can be properly researched and answered away from the meeting. Comments are to be directed to the mayor and city council only. Is there anyone who would like to speak? I guess we've got all department heads except one. Is there anyone who would like to speak tonight? There is not. Moving on. Next up is the consent agenda. These are all items that are routine in nature. I didn't see the need to call out any of them in particular. Do we have a motion of support for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Burnett,
Yes.
Algeria,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Coniston,
Yes.
Wally,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Getting into the regular agenda, first up is the announcement of vacancies. Applicants must reside in Oskaloosa and be 18 years of age unless other specific items are stated. First up is the Airport Commission. We have one vacancy for a term ending on December 31st of 2021. The Board of Adjustment, we have a vacancy for a term ending on December 31 of 2020. The Building Code Board of Appeals, there's one vacancy for an ex officio member, and the Historic Preservation Commission, there's one vacancy for an alternate member for a 3-year term. Moving on to item B. And this is a resolution approving the proposal to enter into a grant agreement. This is with the MCRF, Mahaska Community Recreation Foundation. And the purpose of this item is to hold a public hearing prior to the consideration of a grant agreement in the amount of $80,000 between the City of Oskaloosa and the Mahaska Community Recreation Foundation, MCRF. As discussed with the City Council during the creation of the fiscal year 2020 budget, the City Council authorized budgeting $80,000 for a payment to MCRF to be used for Lacey improvements. The funding for the Lacey Recreation Complex improvements by the city is in exchange for lighting improvements made by Musco Lighting along Kent Field and Stadium Drives. Although the agreement does not tie MCRF to specific improvements, it is the city's understanding that concrete improvements will be made at the Lacey Sports Complex. The use of the Economic Development Grant Agreement between the city and MCRF is the legal mechanism to complete this transaction, as was discussed during the fiscal year 2020 budget meeting. So staff is recommending opening the hearing, receiving comments, and then approving the grant agreement as presented. I'll open the public hearing at this time. Is there anyone who would care to speak? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion of approval for this grant agreement as presented?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
On page 9, why is that blank?
Page
It
what?
doesn't have the projects in it. Last page. Make it easy.
Okay. Page 9 doesn't have, what?
They're blank, the project names.
Oh, I see what
It
you're saying.
says the preceding 12 months, but they are listed. I know there are some.
Mayor and Council, that's because that particular document doesn't get filled out until 2020. So they'll fill that out. That'll be for the previous 12 months.
Okay, so they haven't happened.
They haven't, there's no requirement for them to fill that out at this point. That's part of the certification process for the next year.
Other comments or observations? Roll call, please.
Algeria,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Coniston,
Yes.
Wally,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Burnett,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item C is to consider a resolution rescinding resolution number 19-04-56 pertaining to use of right-of-way by wireless and wireline communication providers by establishing policies and rates, and rescinding resolution number 19-04-57 pertaining to adoption of small wireless facility design guidelines. So on April 15th of 2019, the City Council approved 2 resolutions pertaining to small wireless facilities. The resolutions were recommended by other municipalities to preserve, review, permitting authority for local deployment of next-generation 5G or small cell networks. In June, staff was contacted by representatives from Verizon Wireless regarding the adopted guidelines. An on-site meeting was held to discuss Verizon's plans to roll out 5G networks in Des Moines and potential outlying areas. The representatives provided information regarding the equipment and means of installation and asked preliminary questions regarding the city's concerns and desires for 5G services. In July, Verizon's legal team reviewed and provided feedback on the adopted guidelines. Those are found in Iowa Code Chapter 8C. On August 14th, a small committee of city staff and 3 members of the City Council reviewed the Verizon's feedback and the Iowa Cell Siting Act. The committee determined that Oskaloosa's guidelines were unnecessary and duplicative of much of what is provided in the Iowa Cell Siting Act. The committee recommended the small wireless facility resolutions be rescinded and staff review of the right-of-way permitting procedures with regard to small wireless facilities. The Small Wireless Facility Committee has recommended approval of this item. Do we have a motion of support?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Of the 3 members that sat on the committee, was there any mention of a danger to the new 5G system? Airwaves? Health danger.
Health hazard.
No, there was no discussion on the committee meeting about it.
No, but, thank you.
So, yeah, in essence, the state has already stepped forward and said we are setting the guidelines, and Verizon and other carriers are basically saying it would be easier for them to do implementation if there was one uniform law that they had to comply with, as opposed to cities getting in and manipulating their special situations. So,
And when we passed the resolution in April, that was simply more or less to give us the right to further review it and make sure that we're making the right decisions.
Well, at the time, it was like a rush deal, or we thought we were under the gun, right?
yeah.
Correct. And in our discussions with representatives from Verizon, it really doesn't seem like that date was hard and fast anyways, and we could take action at any point as far as what we would propose for guidelines or internal policies. As the item describes, there isn't a whole lot that we can apparently do from the local level anyways, so why create the redundancy? Why create another process for staff to manage? Why create a different process for the carriers to have to navigate? So the idea is that we don't want to be a roadblock for business, and this is one way to clear that path.
Other comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Strauss,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Augustine,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Burnett,
Yes.
Alger,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item D is to consider an ordinance amending Chapter 15.12. That is the electrical code of the Oskaloosa Municipal Code. This is the first reading. On January 1 of 2018, the newest edition of the National Electrical Code, called 2017 NEC, went into effect in the state of Iowa. Municipalities must adopt the same edition of the NEC that the state has adopted. Oskaloosa's municipal code is in need of attention as it still references the 2014 NEC and includes other references which have become outdated. So the attached ordinance updates and amends the electrical code, Chapter 15.12, by first adopting the 2017 edition of the National Electrical Code. 2, removes the references to the city engineer and replaces it with an electrical inspector or development services director as appropriate. And 3rd, it removes references to Iowa Power and Light Company and replaces it with Mid-American Energy Company. Staff is recommending the City Council hold this first reading and for consideration. So anyway, do we have a motion of support for this?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Why are we changing and not using the city engineer? He's got the most credentials.
Because the building and electrical code are now under my department, development services, no longer under engineering.
But again, the city engineer has more in that category probably than you do, Sean, right? Now, the inspector might be the answer to this question if we have an electrical inspector that has credentials.
We do.
more so than Achilles would have?
Yes, I would say that's correct.
I don't believe Keelish is an electrical engineer.
He's
so-
not, no.
But he is an engineer.
Well,
He's a civil,
But
he's
then-
a civil engineer.
Then, you can laugh, but the inspector's not an engineer either.
I agree, but,
One of them's been to school longer than the other. I'm just making a point, trying to get you to think.
but,
Yeah.
but I,
Think about
again, with an electrical engineering degree,
I
I'd rather
know.
have an electrical
your
person
heart.
than a civil person. I can tell you.
And Mayor and Council, as Sean had pointed out, there have been some adjustments in our organization as we developed over time since the last time this code was adopted. And the building official, we used to have an inspector, now we have a building official, he's certified, has different certs, who will do the inspections that are outlined within a specific code, do report to Sean. So it's an appropriate modification to reflect the changes in the organizational structure and to get us up to date with what's currently adopted by the state.
I mean, if we ever need any signed drawings, it would have to go to an engineer anyway, wouldn't it?
Right.
I'm not sure what's referenced in here, but it'd be,
I mean, we've had, in our own particular projects, we've had to retain the services of an electrical engineer just because we didn't have that specialty on staff.
Well, that'll be the case in a bigger project with the inspector. And Sean, this caught me off guard because I've been gone, and I should know this, but it does have to follow the state. We don't have the option to not follow the state.
That is correct.
Okay, because it used to be, you didn't have to do that. But, okay, thank you.
I did have one question on section 2, where the wording says there is created the position of electrical inspector to be filled by appointment by Development Services. Now, that's not a mandate for us to fill that or, start hiring new in, sometime in the near future, is it?
You just said we had one.
Well, and it could be filled by appointment, it could be the building official, it could be a contract. I mean, it doesn't necessarily require that we
Okay.
have a staff member.
You can outsource that.
So do we have one or we don't have one? And if it is, who is it?
We do have one. Mike Flav is our building
Okay,
official.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
He's the official, and he's gonna be the electrical inspector until he needs help.
He wears a number of hats, that's
Yeah,
correct.
Okay, great, thanks, Sean.
Okay. Any other concerns? Roll call, please.
Moore,
Yes.
Coniston,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Yates,
yes.
Burnett,
Yes.
Calgery,
Yes.
Dross,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Moving on to item E, is to consider an ordinance amending section 15.04.170 having to do with building permits. This is the second reading. Title 15 of the Oskaloosa Municipal Code requires a building permit to be issued for any structure 80 square feet or larger. Staff has proposed to increase this to 120 square feet or larger. Our adopted building code from 2015, IBC, states that work on structures less than 120 square feet is exempt from permit requirements. This amendment will align the city ordinance with the adopted building code and also reflects common practice in similar communities. The change should be well received by residents, as a typical storage shed would no longer require a permit. Staff has recommended passage of this. Do you have a motion of support?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call on the second reading.
Coniston,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Burnett,
Yes.
Calgery,
Yes.
Dross,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Gets us to the end of the regular business. An opportunity for reports on items from city staff, city manager, anything.
Mayor, Council, you've been blessed to have some very short meetings the last few months. Next meeting will be a little longer, just going to give you a heads up. We will be discussing and receiving a presentation on the Early Childhood Center and Recreation Project. The committee that was assigned to that group, which is in coordination with the YMCA and the Oskaloosa Community School District, they are nearing the completion of their initial stages of work. And so that is working through the concept phase of the project and then moving it to you to be presented as schematic design. So the idea is that you'll see preliminary floor plans, you'll see the exterior elevations, and they will have some 3D renderings. And I say they, it's SVPA, the architects that are retained for the project. A similar update will be given to the Oskaloosa School Board on the 10th. As I understand it, Carl Drost will be presenting some information to the school board, so they're up to speed as well. But we're excited about where this project is heading, the work that's been put into it by the committee, and it's a much needed and vital project for our community. So that'll be an exciting piece. We may have some additional reports from staff and also from, I believe, the chamber. So it'll be a little longer than it has been. Just warn you in advance.
Thank you. City clerk, anything?
No, sir, thank you.
City attorney, anything?
I have nothing, thank you, sir.
Okay. Moving on to city council members. Steve?
Just, Mike just mentioned the chamber. I thought I'd let you know, I know at our last budget meeting almost, 8-10 months ago, one of the things that we wanted the chamber to do is get the groups combined. And I think we pretty much told them if they couldn't accomplish that by the end of the year, we'd have a tough time funding them next year. And I feel comfortable they're moving in that direction, and perhaps that's what they're gonna report on next time, I don't know. But at the last meeting I was at, their goal is by the end of the year, they will be trimmed down to, I don't wanna say one organization, because I think Main Street has to remain separate, but OACDG and Chamber at least, I think, will be combined by the end of the year. So I think they're moving in the right direction. I feel comfortable in saying that that'll happen probably.
Very good.
Yep.
Tom, anything?
Well, we had an EMA and 911 meeting the other day, and it was, when we went into it, it sounded encouraging. We had closed session with the attorneys. They thought they had something to help maybe for the lawsuit to go away, but when we got done, it didn't sound like it. So I think we're still in the lawsuit mode.
Disappointing.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Doug?
Nothing tonight, sir.
Okay. Scotty?
No, thank you.
Diane, welcome back.
No, thank you.
Joe?
Oh, nothing.
Okay, Bob?
No, sir.
Okay, I have nothing to add as well. So with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. We're adjourned.